waiting on Superman. We have become a nation of whiners. We have become a nation that is comfortable with the way the world is. We blame the world as if we are not a part of the world itself. We complain. We ignore. We walk away from battles that we were made to fight. Today is the day that I say that we can no longer wait on Superman. That we must become a nation of believers. A nation willing to thrive in any environment. We must come out of the darkness. We must come out of the wilderness. We must lift and raise our voices for the voiceless and those who are going through tragedy. The tyranny of this life does not have to be this way. We do not have to turn our backs on those who rely on us to be the hero, to be Superman. We have the power within us to be much more than human. For we are demigods, half human, half divine. The Lord has created us to do things in a new way. In a way that will change lives. Inspiring those who have not to acquire what they have lost, their way. Now I know it's comfortable once you get used to the darkness. I know it's comfortable once you get used to the wilderness. It's comfortable to blame your environment for how you are. But the time of blaming is over. The time of denial is over. The time of living in illusions is over. We have come a long way. The ancestors and the forefathers has laid out a path for us, destiny, one which we are supposed to meet, one which shall be the end of all the drama, of all the games, of all the doubters and the critics. The power of God is within us, guiding us, driving us, disciplining us, so that we may learn from our mistakes, so that we may learn that we are not alone in this battle. While waiting for Superman, we have a choice to make. Are we heroes or are we villains? To become villains is just to sit and do nothing. Watch the world spin. Watch the chaos continue. Every time you flick on the news, you see the horror of your area. Every time you turn on the world news, you see the destruction of the world. It is up to us and our generation to bring this to an end. It is up to us and our generation to be reborn. It is up to us to decide to change the future. Now I know it's not easy to change overnight, but it can be done. And it should be done. When we encounter things that is not part of our ideology, we stop. We no longer want to be a part of that. So in that sense, we can change easily who we are and what we are, and become what we were destined and born to be. We do not have to wait for some miracle. We don't have to wait for some divine intervention. We don't have to wait until our wishes and our heart's desire are granted. We must move forward and be the warriors of the day that we were meant to be. We must move forward and design a life that is up to God's standard. For he left us with laws and commandments and covenants, asking us only to follow the laws in which he has designed to ensure that there is peace, to ensure that there is love, to ensure that there is truth and justice. We are a long way from our goal because we have decided to sit this one out. We have decided not to fight with all our might. We have desired to be alone in this world and depend on us alone. But we are the fabric of our nation. We are the fabric of humanity. We cannot allow the fabric of humanity to be torn into pieces. We cannot allow the destruction of our abilities. We were all born with the ability to inspire and change. Whether we are dreamers, poets, songwriters, singers, lovers, we all have a role to play in life. Now watch hearts grow cold. I have watched minds go dull, no longer wanting to listen to the cries of the people. I come not to stand on ceremony, but I've come to tell you that while we're waiting on Superman, while we're waiting on a man that can transform all things, while we're waiting on the Lamb, while we're waiting on God, there are things that we could be doing. Standing up for the rights of those who have been devastated, torn down, broken, those who are homeless, those who are voiceless, those who have been abused. It is our job to do something. It is our job to be our brother's keeper, to be our sister's keeper. It is our job to rise above and be more than man, to be more than women. It is our job to teach our children that they have everything they need to change the world, that they will impact the world with a mighty force, as long as you teach them the laws of God, as long as you teach them the covenant of God and the commandments of God. We have strayed away from the Bible. We have strayed away from the Torah. We have strayed away from the Quran. We no longer practice what we preach. We give advice that we will never do ourselves, to our friends, and to our family. We so quickly run away when things get out of control instead of standing with the power of divinity that God has given us. He has given us the strength to love those who have never known love. He has given us the strength to tell the truth to those who have been living in the world of lies. It is time now to be bold, to be brave, to do what other nations and other tribes and other generations refuse to do. Be bold and tell the truth. Tell our story, our testimony. Who was born in the inner city. I watched the theory of oppression happen. When you oppress somebody so long that when you stop oppressing them, they begin to oppress themselves. Get accustomed to the life of having nothing. Get accustomed to the belief that they are nothing. Accustomed to the belief that they don't have the power to inspire. You can see that they are dead inside. The light has been gone from their eyes. This is not the world that we should live in. God is worthy to be praised and honored at all times. I was abused for 14 years. That's over half of my life. I fell victim to the belief that I was not strong enough, bold enough, courageous enough to change my situation. I thought that that's how human beings were supposed to be. Full of venom, full of anger. That the strongest will always take what they want from the weak. That they will always kick you while you're down instead of help you up. That it was okay to be bullied until the Lord spoke to me and told me that I had the power. That inside me was the voice of truth. That I could set myself free from the chains of despair. See, I was like the rest of the world, waiting on Superman, waiting on someone to come into my life and change my life for me. Not knowing all along that I was Superman. I was the hero that I was seeking. I was the power that I was looking for. At 16, I looked in my mother's eyes and I told her the truth. That I was born a gift unto her. And whether she relished the gift or not, I would be here one way or another, whether I was born to her or born to someone else. That I was a child of God. And no child of God should have to suffer through abuse. No child of God should have to suffer through molestation or rape or emotional abuse power to change things. She didn't like the fact that I pointed out to her what she was doing was wrong. She rallied all the venom she could to try to stop me. But it was too late. I had already been touched by the hand of God. I had already become protected by the hand of God. See, when we open our eyes and begin to listen to God, begin to do what God asks us to do, we begin to move in a direction that is different. We begin to walk with our heads held high. Those who bullied me began to see that I had changed. It was the first time I had begun to fast. It was the first time I had begun to study the words of God. It was the first time I had begun to have the theology bug inside of me. It was the first time that I read the Quran. It was the first time that I read the Torah. It was the first time that I had begun to search the origin of this world. It was the first time I realized the devil had control of the world, but he does not have control over the souls that belong to God. And there were two different worlds existing in one. There was the path of God and the path of the enemy. And I'd already lived the path of the enemy. See, my mother's life was destroyed, broken. So she took it out on her children. My sister ran away at the age of 17, was just of me. And I looked like my father, so the deeds of my father and the actions of my father caused me to be abused viciously. I was torn down as a man. I was torn down as a child. And I had to move in and recreate and pull together the theory of a man, the theory of love, the theory of wisdom. And I had great help in that, because just like the Bible says, do not encroach on the belly of the motherless and fatherless. I was motherless and fatherless. And the Lord stepped in and became my father. He showed me how to be a better man. He showed me how to be a man. He showed me how to make an impact on other lives. He blessed me so much that those blessings overflowed into other lives. I became an advocate for those who needed someone to show them what life was like on the other side. To give them the strength and the courage to move forward, not backwards. To forgive themselves and to forgive their past. God is an awesome God. We can spend our lives waiting on Superman, or we can change our lives here and now. We can believe that we were born to be great. That we are demigods, half flesh, half divine. That we do not have to give in to our flesh. That we can begin to listen to the divine ability of our soul, that we begin to listen to the wind and hear the voice of God, that we can fast and become closer with God, that we can kneel and pray no matter where we are, and have God hear our prayer, that we are the defenders of His truth. That's our job. Pastors say that when you become saved, the devil's going to hunt you more, but they never tell you how to protect yourself. Well, you must live the truth. You must search for wisdom. You must honor what the Old Testament said. You must honor what the New Testament says. You must honor the belief in God. You must be prepared to be righteous. Everything you do must come with the honest truth of who you are. It must come from the core of your soul. You must begin to say, I am who I am. You must realize that you will be an outcast in the midst of life. That it's okay when friends leave your side, because they're not meant to be with you always. You must learn to set free those who have held you captive in your life. You must break the chain and break the cycle. You must begin to review your life and see the points of where God has touched your life. This is not easy. We have to deal with karma for the negative things that we have done when we were under the spell of the devil. When we were under the spell of the dark one, we must rise above the torture. We must remember that if we fall, the great ones rise again. We must remember that every second and every moment we are battling, we are at war. The devil wants us to believe that this is a time of peace. But there is no peace. Flick on the news. Flick on the world news. Read the newspaper. And you should see that society is crumbling. Because they do not follow the laws of God. The atheists of God. You see the turmoil that happens in life when there is no intervention of inspiration. When you see that these people have waited for Superman so long that they have turned their hearts cold, believing that Superman will never arrive, that the hero that they seek will never come. They become enslaved by the dark one. Temptation rattles through their mind, wanting things they cannot have, wanting things they do not deserve yet. Our Father blesses us with things that we are ready for. Yes, He disciplines us. Yes, He speaks to our soul. Yes, But we have to be firmly in the grasp of God. We have to be firmly standing next to God. We have to believe that we are a host of God, that our body is a temple for God, that meditating is not just about clearing away the cobwebs, but reviewing the things that we have done. We have to believe that we are heroes, because there will be so many who will come to us and tell us their life story, and something must be said to them. Because inside you, there is a message waiting. I've been doing this for 15 years, going on 16. I know there's a message waiting for those who are doing without. I know that I must be the hero that they seek. I must be original in my beliefs. I must not beat them over the head with scripture, but speak to them as if they are in the realm of God. Speak to them in the human form, in the human language. Speak to them about my past. Open up my soul and allow them to enter in the paradise and the oasis that has been created inside of me. Now I must lift my voice and let them hear the confidence that I have. I must not tremble. I must not shake. I must be divine in what I do. The power of God is within us and all around us. Just like the kingdom of God is in us and all around us. Those who say the kingdom of God is in the sky, then the birds shall precede you. If they say the kingdom of God is in the ocean, then the fish will precede you. But the wise know that the kingdom of God is within them and all around them. That God has already planted a seed in each and every one of us. He's already laid out the path. He's already put that person in the way to inspire you. He has already put the temptation of life on the side burners so that you can move forward. He says to you that there's no weapon formed that can prosper, and you have to believe that. I was meant to be a nobody, and I became somebody in God. The Bible is filled with outcasts who became legends, who became prophets of the Most High, who dreamed the dreams of love, who gave birth to the scriptures we read today from thousands and thousands of years ago. And the message has evolved to now. We are the sons and daughters of the living God. We are the heroes in waiting. Don't wait for the dare to be great moment. Be great. Be strong. Be bold. Be brave. Be courageous. Be what God has intended you to be. We can wait on Superman our whole life. We can wait on a hero to come save us our whole life. Until we realize that we are together. We are the believers. We are the new nation of God. They speak one language, but that one language will radiate across the world, from nation to nation, from tribe to tribe. We are the great ones, the children of destiny. We must believe that love is a birthright and not a gift of the populace. We must believe that our society has grown cold, that what we see on TV is propaganda. What we hear on the radio is propaganda. What we see in the movie theaters is propaganda. We live in a country that uses propaganda to get us to think that we must dress alike and act alike and be alike and like the same things. And if we don't, then we are not a part of society. Well, God told us to live in the world, but be not of it. God told us that the birds and animals don't worry about how they're going to be fed or where their shelter comes from. So neither shall we. God is a living God, a merciful God, a gracious God, but He is also a vengeful God. You cannot allow your life to be hijacked by the enemy. You can't allow His words to resonate in your mind. You can't allow Him to destroy what God has built in you. No man can destroy what they did not create. And God created you. No man can lock the door and refuse to let you enter. Because God is the key to the door. You're not locked out. You're just waiting on the key. It is time for us to move forward. It is time for us to be the heroes. It's time for us to be the new generation. It is time for us to be the children of destiny. It's time for us to no longer wait on Superman. It's time for us to no longer wait on another man to heal us. It's time for us to use our divine rights to peace, to love, to faith, to joy. We must call upon the Lord to remember the covenant He has made with our people. That He will find a way for us to make it to destiny. That He will comfort us in the moments that we need Him. But we must remember our sacred duty to be the voice for the voiceless. To be strong for those in the valley of the motherless and fatherless. To be our brother's keeper. To be our sister's keeper. To be the heroes of the day. Architects of the day and the night. We must remember that we are a group of believers. And that our belief sets us free. For we believe in God.